You are listening to SheKings with Erica and Allie. This is a podcast for peasants who don't want to live shitty lives. Every week we share insights on how to stop living out of habit and start living out of inspiration. So let's do this.
All right, we're recording.
Uh-oh.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, beautiful people.
Man, welcome to SheKings, you guys. And real quick, for those of you who have been disconnected, we're just going to remind you that what SheKing is. So we are a weekly podcast, and we bring clarity to overused spiritual buzzwords and little-known spiritual concepts so that you can live a life with more freedom and ease. And now in this time, it's needed.
Yeah, freedom and ease are definitely in high demand for everyone. Yeah,
absolutely. So Erica and I have been checking in with each other every day, but how are things going? Share with the people.
Things are good. We are pretty much on lockdown here in Amsterdam. Schools are closed, so Asha is home. Most businesses are working from home, so Willem is home. So you might hear Frozen 2 playing in the background today. And I have been back on social media, but not posting, just to get a feel of what's going on and how people are feeling and taking and receiving all of this. And it's been interesting, joyful to see the whole, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, all next to each other. Yeah. How about you?
Things are good. Same. Yesterday was my birthday.
Yeah, boy.
So on my birthday, that's when they shut down everything. And I was like, oh, is that symbolic?
A celebration. Everyone go home. It's Allie's birthday.
It's like a holiday. That's wonderful. No, things are good. We're helping Aaron out with the babies because all of them are home. All of them.
Yeah.
And the studio obviously closed, mandatory 30 days. So we're just seeing like what we can do to stretch our money a little bit and just staying upbeat, healthy, watching a lot of Netflix, reading books. We're going to go to the mountains later on today, just get some fresh air. So that's
awesome.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like not in, we were talking about this yesterday, not spiritual bypassing, but again, like stepping back and looking at the whole, it really feels like something good, something beautiful, something wonderful can be born from this time, but it's just really a tough time for many. So this episode is really hoping to speak to folks who are feeling a lot of fear or experiencing fear from other people. And also we use Zoom to record. So just a heads up, guys, everybody's on Zoom. Everybody's doing exactly what we've been doing, right? Because everything is virtual. So please bear with us if, it's a little bit wonky with recording, but we don't give a shit. When we record it, it goes up.
We don't care if we can't hear nothing for 2 minutes. Really.
You make it through.
What episode is this? Is 18 for season 2?
I think that it is 17.
17.
But let me just double check.
Yeah.
Look at the last thing.
So this recording is, we're going to talk about fear because it's been coming up a lot. People have been pushing against it. People have been sharing it like it's their best friend.
Yes.
Share it with the world. Here's my fear. I was reading something on Twitter.
Go ahead.
I was reading something on Twitter and somebody, it was like this report and all this, and someone said, this is so terrifying. Everybody needs to read this. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, this is terrifying. Everybody must read this. Oh, okay.
Everybody must be terrified. Yeah, I mean, that's so interesting because it's such a fine line between knowing what's going on and, being a good social citizen. And, I think there's another way to phrase this is so terrifying.
Yeah.
Everybody must read this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think it also, people use that word, would spread like wildfire. But now I'm like, oh, this is what spreading like wildfire means,
Yeah.
right? Because the fear jumps from person to person to person. The overwhelm jumps from person to person to person. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Let's go ahead and
into it.
just do the obvious that the universe has our back. Let's do that one. But the universe has the Earth's back. So I think it's really interesting to see all the reports on pollution. They're like at their lowest.
Yes.
The waters are clear. So I'm like, touche, Gaia,
Yep.
touche.
Gaia is like, but this is something that I was saying when I went through Irma. Also, went through Katrina. Luckily, not actually there like I was for Irma, but living in New Orleans. The Earth will fix itself.
Yeah.
It really will, and we can be here or not. And so I feel like this is the Earth crying out to rethink how we're showing up as humans. And I really, really, really hope that people are going to take this time to just, become more aware of their waste, of their diet, their consumption of clothing, transportation, negative news. Be
Yeah.
aware of what you're putting into your mental and physical self.
Yeah.
Seriously. So right now, if you're listening to this and you're one of those people who's reading every "this is terrifying" news story, step away from the
Yeah.
stories. Like step away
Absolutely.
right now and figure out a way to get what you need to know without crushing your actual spirit,
Yeah.
without crushing your soul. I wanted to say one thing about the universe has your back, though. A personal note. Billum and I were planning to move to the US, where, we would have been just starting jobs, both of us, and not really we would have moved to a city where we didn't have a particular network. And because he broke his ankle, we ended up moving back here to Amsterdam, which, again, we're just starting jobs. Everything's the same, except for the social safety net is much stronger. And so, yeah, where we feel really lucky that this tragic thing of him basically shattering his ankle led us here during this time, because again, having his family very close to us and being able to be that support for us is amazing. And having a government that is very organized
Right.
is also really helpful right now, in terms of getting out a consistent message, in terms of supporting people who are being, hardest hit by the economic pullback that everybody's experiencing all over the world. So we were talking about that last night, just how grateful we were and how the universe was steering us in the direction that would be most helpful for us, even though it wasn't our first choice.
I love it. I love it. That is
Yeah.
pretty awesome. That is
Yeah.
awesome. All right, let's move into episode 17, and it's transforming fear in the midst of fucking hysteria. That was my contribution. You're welcome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, and we're going to do 2 episodes because this has so much content to cover. So what is fear and what is real fear? So understand that there is a difference. There is a difference between our creative fear and what is real fear. So real fear happens like in the moment. Real fear won't even allow your brain to create a story. Like it bypasses the limbic brain, I believe, and it just goes straight into like run or do, you know, do something to save yourself. There is no story. Like you don't have time to pause and be like, like this bear is going to stick its claws in me and then it's
Right.
going to rip me. Ooh, and what if it hits the kidney or the heart? Like your body's like, oh, bitch, we don't have time. Like
Right.
run. You don't have time to think, but that is true fear. The fear that we're in right now is creative fear. It is
So
stories. Yeah.
let me hop in with the real fear and just say a note about how that's not even actually fear then, right?
Yes.
It's still fear needs the mind. Because if in the moment you're about to get hit by a car, you see someone about to get hit by a car and you like run to push them out of the way. Like in that moment when you talk to people, that you always hear them say, I'm no hero, right? Like I just did it, right? Like the movement came. And so it is not until after it's over that people will look back and say, that was a scary situation.
Yes.
Or weren't you afraid? Because now, outside of the present moment and the spontaneity of the situation, now they can make a story about it.
Yes.
Fear needs the mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that. Yep. So do understand the distinction, right? That we're talking
So you're going to
about.
talk about creative fear now.
Yeah, creative fear is stories that you make up, and they're usually, obviously, it's towards a negative outcome. Like,
Right.
you know, what if this happens? What if I lose my job? What if I don't have any money? It's all based off of insecurity, just with the basic needs, right? Money, food, house, your health. Also, like a loss of relationship. Like, we'll use, since we're going through this, you know, if there's like my mom, she's in her 70s, right? So if I was fearful about her health, is she not going to be in our life anymore? Loss of your own life, right?
Yeah.
Where some people are going to the extreme of like, you know, this is an apocalypse. So, you know, like a zombie apocalypse, the coronavirus apocalypse, all that stuff. Like we're going to extremes of what if. And it's not that we're going to extremes of what if to find a solution. We're going to extremes of what if, and then we're living there. Like we're popping a tent and we're saying, fuck it, I'm camping out here because, right? Because
Absolutely.
sadly, that's where society thrives. That's how we connect. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
We were talking about that.
Yep.
That we connect through just like, let's think of the worst case scenarios. Because if somebody says, oh my God, this happened to me and it was amazing, we don't thrive with them. We just say, oh, cool. But then we notice what's missing in our lives. So that's not a connection. Fear connects us. Tragedy connects us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's funny because even as I was talking about the social safety net of having family and a government that is, you know, for now appears to know what's going on. Because the truth is, even in my situation where it feels slightly more certain, it's still complete fucking chaos and complete uncertainty. The truth is, I have no clue what's going to happen. We all have no clue what's going to happen. And we never did. We just had the veil of pretending like it was possible. But even as I was sharing that, I was like, people are going to be like, you stupid bitch. Well, we live here, you know, in, you know, with this government and these people, wherever, you know, people are listening in from, and they're making bad decisions and yada, yada, yada. And so it's like, mind will take that and be like, well, I'm different from Erica. My situation is different. And so, you know, I can keep my story.
Yeah.
The sky is falling and everything is on fire. Like I can keep that because now she told a positive story as opposed to, because the truth is, even when I share it as a story, right, to make me feel like there's more certainty. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah, no, that is so true.
So
okay.
Can you tell a little bit about like how fear works? Are you okay?
Oh my gosh, like I had like this intense itching on my arm.
What does that mean?
Oh my gosh, is this how it's gonna start?
Like, okay, guys, let's pause this video and check coronavirus symptoms. Can I just tell you that now I'm like watching like TV shows and people are like hugging and kissing and shaking hands. I'm like, don't do that. I'm like, it's really like a part of my life. I'm like, in this day and age of coronavirus, you can't just be out here on these movies being irresponsible to record it. 20 years ago, okay, shaking hands is not okay.
Can't do that. Oh my God. Okay. That's hilarious. So,
So
okay.
no, can you talk about the sort of the technical side of fear,
Oh yeah.
for lack
Yeah.
of a better word?
Like what is like, why is fear our go-to? It's basically muscle memory. So you have your cells, you have the receptor sites, on your receptor sites, emotions attached, right? So it becomes an addiction. So your body can go straight to fear because it's like, oh, this is what we know. It pulls from past experiences and it pulls it so fast that you're not even aware that you made that decision to enter in that space of fear.
Yeah.
So it's just your body is just programmed to live in that space.
Yeah.
And so it's the fight or flight or the freeze, all these little tiny situations that we find ourselves into. Your body basically connects them to every other fearful situation that you've had. So you're basically just adding and adding and adding and adding. And that's why we say, like, be mindful of the stuff that you're reading, right? Because then then you have that fear response, and your body's just like, it's just adding, and it's just like, oh, that's our normal now. That's our normal, right? And it doesn't matter if it's something big that's happened, like if you're walking to your car at night and you hear a noise behind you and you're like, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so your body's like, it grabs that. And then you're reading an email and that is fearful, their story. I mean, it's just collecting, and it's an addiction. And that's why your body just will instantly go to it, because that's how it is wired to go. We're hardwired for that over the years. Thanks to social media, man, we are hardwired. Think about if we
Even
didn't have social
before.
media.
Go ahead. What were we saying? Think about what?
What if we didn't have social media in this time?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think we'd be so fearful. I mean, we may be concerned, but we wouldn't have like second updates and what's going on. And yeah, it'd be totally different. But go ahead. What were you going to say, Erica?
No, I was thinking, because you were using some really good examples. I don't even know what I really wanted to say, but you're using some really good examples because we've talked about this before. We've talked about how, I think that for children, the only fear they have, if I recall correctly, is falling from a distance, right? Because a child will crawl up to a bear, right?
Right.
And so some of these things are, sort of, they're learned, but once that actual fear, it is sort of hardwired into us. And so, yeah, like you were saying, it starts to be associated with things that are not falling from a cliff or being attacked by a wild animal. Now it is the tiniest little things are bringing up a massive, massive fear response, which then results in the creation of this catabolic energy inside of us. So we have catabolic energy and anabolic energy, and catabolic energy eats away and anabolic energy builds up. And so when the hormones are triggered essentially by this fear response, that they just move through our body and sort of really shut us down, because when you feel fear, all of your energy is going to fighting. So it's going to your limbs, running, or, the other response is to freeze. But like, it is taking all of your energy to engage in any of these things. And so the basic functions of digestion, of observing the entire world, right? Allie's going to talk about her fear response, and I will as well. But one of the things she talked about is how she gets her tunnel vision. It's like nothing else is fucking happening, and it's like, it's the noise from the television when it goes to the screen. It's like, and you're stuck, but it's a critical waste of energy, physically, emotionally, etc.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so, and then, okay, so why fear? Why is it our go-to? Besides the addiction, we love to be a victim, right? And we talked a little bit about this before, is that everybody connects through tragedy, through trauma, through being a victim. And so that's another reason why we go to fear.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it really has become a part of just the greater population's story for itself. Poor me, right? No
right.
one wants to acknowledge the gender bias in the room, right? Because they're like, you know what I have to go through as a man? Like everybody thinks in the Me Too movement that, if I tell somebody they look pretty, do you know what I have to go through as a man? I'm not getting promotions. I'm not moving through the ranks, right? Because they're like, no, I am the victim here. And it's when we're dealing with race, it's like, don't talk to me about what you've gone through. Do you know what my people have gone through? And so it's an addiction as well, this idea that no, I've had it worse. And so even in this coronavirus, this COVID-19 world, there is this desire by many to be like, no, um, I've got it worse. Look how bad it is. And or even identifying with a group, like, we need to take care of these people. Do you see how bad it is for them? It's like, dude, step up. And I have seen some beautiful stories of people stepping up, but don't make a story about it.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so how do people usually respond to fear?
So, we wanted to talk about how we all have a pattern. We all have a way of when we are under stress, we go in a particular direction. We go through sort of stages, and everybody's is different. But I wanted to use the example of the grief model, and a lot of you guys might know about that because it's a good understanding of sort of how people can, when they feel a particular emotion, move from here to here to here to here to here. So the grief model, you can really look it up. I'll run through it super quickly because it's not the center, but most people start off in shock and denial. So imagine you've lost somebody, then all of a sudden they might move to, no, this is not happening. They might find themselves going numb. And so that's the first step in the grief model, shock and denial. And then goes to pain and guilt, anger and bargaining, depression, reflection, loneliness. The next is the upward turn. And then the final two are reconstruction and working through, and then acceptance and hope. So I probably didn't state that as clearly as I could have, but the point is that there are 7 stages of grief that people tend to go through, and you can stay in these stages for, you can go through all 7 of those stages in 5 minutes. For some people, the grief experience, depending on what it is, might take 5 years. For some people, they might stay in one for just a few minutes and then move to the next one and stay there for a few weeks. And so
Yeah.
our energetic stress response is very, very similar. Our fear response is very, very similar. And so Allie and I are going to share with you guys what our fear response is. And then we hope that you guys will take some time and figure out what your fear response is. Do you want to start, Allie?
Yeah, so with me, my heart rate speeds up and then I get tunnel vision. And it's not, and I literally, like, it just zooms in, like closes in. And then depends, I feel like I should lash out and fight.
Mm-hmm.
Depends who's around me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my response.
And so you basically have sort of a freeze and strong fear and then anger.
Mm-hmm. It's I don't necessarily freeze. Like I still move, but I'm just focusing
Mm-hmm.
on that one thing. Like I'm just moving
Oh,
forward,
yeah.
like that one. Like I'm just moving.
Yeah.
Not necessarily freezing, but it is tunnel vision, like crazy tunnel.
So
That's the only
are
thing.
you like, are you actively trying to fix it in that time? Like, I'm going to fix this.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm definitely not sitting with it. It's when either like my husband or someone just says, okay, let's just sit for a minute, and I fight against that. No.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
once you start to talk it through, then that helps me just like, okay, we're good. We're good.
Okay. Okay. How do you come out of it? So you go from fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, oh my gosh, to rage, anger, like fuck everybody and fuck everything, to where do you like you go like sort of deeper into the hole and get a little depressed at that time if it, you know, it's not working out, or do you, what do you do?
I honestly don't stay there that long. It's funny how people around me will show up and sorry, I'm watching your cup.
I had to mute that. I'm like, if they hear this cough, they're gonna turn off the damn recording because they're like, coronavirus is coming through this goddamn
Through
speaker.
Zoom. Seems
So
about
I just, Allie stopped because she saw me hacking over here. And, you know, just aside, the thing about coronavirus is so many people have it.
yeah.
And like, because there are not enough tests anywhere for the most part, we will never know. We'll never know that we've gained immunity because this entire house is hacking. I'm gonna put mute again and you finish telling us about how you go out of this from.
Okay. Absolutely. So it's beneficial for me to like sit with it, talk through it either with my husband or whoever's around. Like I'll call you and we'll talk it through. But I'll be honest, it's I rarely experience like fear, like fear. Yeah. Hi, Asha. Erica's daughter just walked in. Oh, there she is. So it's very rare, like just crazy fear. But yeah, that's my go-to. Like that's how my body responds.
So your stress response, your fear response is tackle it,
Mhm.
get angry, and then talk to somebody, talk it out.
Yep, talk it out and let it subside.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, and then I totally see it different. Totally see
Yeah.
it differently. Yeah.
Okay.
And what's yours?
So mine is interesting because it shifted so much over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But my old stress response, my old fear response was to fall into nothing can be done about this, to really, really go to the poor me, to the victim, to
Right.
just like feeling down and depressed. And so there were definitely periods in my life where I would stay in that space for a really long time, And then I think within that space, there might be a little bit of anger, a little bit of blame, a little bit of trying to figure out. But I think the way I come out of it and where I end up is typically at, okay, really trying to think back, like maybe I would dip my toe into the water and like sort of see things start to shift. I think I would move to sort of like seeing opportunity and seeing synergy, like why it all happened, like trying to piece it all together.
Right.
Now my energetic stress response is it like blinks through that. It like blinks through that, like poor me and like wanting to hide. And it's really from the place of observing, like I see like, oh, there it is. And it stays for a really, really, it is a blink of the eye. And I think that now I tend to stay in that observer place, you know, and to the point where at times it's hard for me to pull out and see the opportunities that have presented themselves because of what has happened. It's hard for me to like reach out to people and try to give them love and support because I don't get it. It's hard for me to even try to piece together like the things we were saying earlier, like the earth is healing from this, because I'm like, everything's good. You know, somehow this doesn't need my story and it doesn't need my figuring out. Yeah. And so Allie and I just went through sort of our process. And I've mentioned some other things. A lot of people go directly to what's the opportunity here, right? So
Right.
we were talking about that fucking asshole who went, okay, he was in Kentucky and Tennessee, fucking dodo face, went and bought 17,000 squirty squirt things of hand sanitizer once he found out that COVID was coming. He went to all of the small towns and cleaned off their shelves. And this fucker was planning on selling this stuff for between $5 and $80, something like that. I don't know. I didn't read the article, but I heard about it and I saw memes about it. And I was like, what? And then he was like, he had the nerve to be on the cover of the New York Times, which I think was irresponsible reporting. I'm like, are you trying to make people mad at this guy? Looking sad about it, right? Like with his garage full of hand sanitizer behind him because he can't move it because there are laws against price gouging. Fucker. So some people see opportunity immediately. Some people see the opportunity to support each other immediately. You know, here in Amsterdam, people are putting together phone trees and WhatsApp groups so that older people in the community, people who are immunocompromised, can have people to talk to, can bring their groceries.
Right.
You know, I saw something where somebody knocked on the door and somebody got a knock on the door and they opened the door and somebody had like some hand sanitizer and a roll of toilet paper. Like they had just set it outside of the person's door. Are you fucking kidding me? So some people see the opportunity to love as soon as shit gets tough. When the fear arises, they like run out to support. Some people see how it all fits together. Some people get depressed. Some people get angry. Some people, like Allie's example is a great example of people who are like, I might not be pleased with this fucking situation, but I got to do what I got to do to get through it. Right. And so they start to, you know, sort of take action. It may have a lot of catabolic energy in it, but there's something very anabolic about continuing to move as well. So we've gone through the different ways that you can go with this. And we would love to you guys. What are they doing for homework, Allie?
You were offering the assessment test. And so
Yes.
It's this assessment test that you can take, like how you can track your stress response and then understand what your stress response is. And then when you do the opposite, then you're telling your body we're doing something new. So you're basically retraining the mind, you're retraining the body. So it's always good to know what is your stress response. So Erica is offering that. And how much was it, Erica?
It's 75, which when I tell you guys, I usually charge 200 plus for it. But for these hard times, this is basically just going to cover the expense of buying the test. I would love to help you guys. And basically the assessment just goes through and it shows you what your energetic stress response is. And it also shows you where you are typically, right? Where your energy falls typically on that catabolic, anabolic range. And the most important thing about it is becoming conscious, like Allie and I have, of what your stress response is, because you can end up in a place where, like me, you just go through it so quickly. Like it never really takes hold because you're like, oh, this is just what I do. This is like where my mind wants to go. This is, like Allie was saying, this is how I'm hardwired.
Yep. Absolutely. And be mindful, you guys. It's a thing called bypassing, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in the next episode on how to transcend fear. So you don't want to miss that episode, how to transcend it. But just be mindful of where you're putting your energy of fear, right? So blame, lashing out, focusing on dumb shit, like people buying toilet paper and what is it called? When you, trolling on people's pages to condemn their decisions or whatever. It's like, be mindful of where you're putting your energy. Like that's your fear energy. So sit with it, deal with it. Everybody's going to process it differently, but understand what you're doing and where you're stuffing yours down, because now you're doing all these external actions that are just busy and distracted. So just be mindful of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because if you are one of those people who tends to go to anger, then you're online, you're in public, like looking for somebody who says, well, I think we should just keep going out, or looking for somebody who says, you know what, we just need to shut everything down. Like you're looking for it. So you're like,
Right.
fuck you. We shut everything down. What's going to happen? Fuck you. What do you like people are, that's your energetic stress response. And so even if you don't want to take the assessment with me, which I mean, it's a fucking eye opening, I do highly recommend that you take a minute and just look back over the years and say, can I piece together what my energetic stress response is, what my fear response is, even without an assessment, and just have a look and do one of those things for your homework. One more thing, Allie. I know we're out of time, but I was just thinking about maybe either including in the transcending fear episode, or doing something separate on having compassion for everybody's stress and
Yeah,
fear.
let's make that a separate one. I love that.
Yeah.
So do keep tuning in, you guys. Erica, where can the people find you?
Yeah, if you would like to hop into some coaching, I know Allie and I are both trying to figure out how we can make everything more affordable in this time of COVID, and we know that money is tight, and we just want to, you know, find a way to support doing what it is that we love. But if you do want to reach out to me for coaching, you can go to ericadanielle.com and schedule a chat. And if you'd like to sign up for the assessment, you can just go ahead and email me at erica@ericadanielle.com. That's Erica with a C. What about you, Allie?
I'm on the socials, Allie Duncan Be Seen on Instagram and Facebook, and then I am Allie Duncan is my website. You can email me. Yeah, you guys. So stay connected. Oh, you don't hear me? Oh, are you not hearing me? But stay connected, you guys. Positive. Understand your own fear, what that looks like, all that good stuff. So I think Erica lost me in sound. All right, you guys, we are tuning off. Thanks for joining. And looky, Zoom came through. Thank you.
It did.
Yeah, not one glitch. So cool. All right, you guys, take care of yourselves, and we'll be chatting with you.
We love you guys.
Yes. Mwah. Bye.